in Arlynn, Tunheim, and I was drafted into the Army in April of '65.
Okay, and what did you do before you got in the Army?
Well, I had done farm work and little other odd jobs like construction and stuff like that.
Okay, how old are you when you went in the Army?
I was 21.
21?
Yep.
Okay, so you get enlisted. How did that all work out for you? Did you go to Fargo?
I went to Fargo for physical, yeah.
Okay, and right from there you took a train, or?
Yeah, you went to Fort, we took the train to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Train to Fort Leonard Wood?
Yep.
Okay, and how many days were you in a train to get there?
I think it was 2 days. Yep.
Was, when I went to Fort Lewis, they had a club car. Were you allowed into the club car?
Yes, I think we did, yeah.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
I suppose that's where we ate our meals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and so a couple days to get there, and then you didn't go into Fort Leonard Wood, you must have, did you go to St. Louis, or?
I think we spent one night in St. Louis and went to Fort Leonard Wood the next day.
Bus or train?
That was train.
Oh, train right in there?
No, I think we took a bus, but I can't, from part ways, I can't remember exactly where it was.
Okay, yeah. So you get there, what's that like?
Well, it was kind of different. We didn't know what we were getting into, and we spent the night in the barracks, and then, I don't know, we had to do some processing in, and then we spent 2 days having shots.
Okay.
And then we were assigned to our training outfit. I think the company was Echo 5-2. I think that's what it was.
Okay, so what kind of barracks were you in?
That was the old wood barracks.
2-star?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what was a day like in basic training?
Well, I don't know. They were kind of long. It was kind of an adventure. We didn't know what we'd be doing until we got out there. Well, in the morning, you went for breakfast, and then it was calisthenics. And,
Pretty much basic training?
yeah.
Yeah. So what was the food like for you?
Well, we thought it was pretty good.
Okay. Any special food you liked, or?
Well, I don't know. It was the one I kind of liked was what they called shit on the shingle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. I liked that.
Yeah. Piece of bread with some meat, with some gravy on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of marching.
Oh yes, there was quite a few. Especially went to the rifle range. That was five miles out there. We walked out there in the morning and back in the afternoon.
That's a nice little jog.
It was.
Yeah. How'd you do for shooting?
Well, I qualified. What was the low marksman? I think was what I got.
Sharpshooter, was it an M14, or you remember?
M14, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was about the last. We were about the last ones to use M14s. The M16 was coming in, but I never got to try them.
Yeah. And anything else? Did you do gas chamber and stuff like that?
Yes, we had to do that. I think we had to go in there 1 minute or so and then go out.
Take your gas mask off and go out? Or did you have a gas mask at all?
Well, when we went, we had to take it off when we went in.
Oh.
We had to stay in there 1 minute, I think it was.
Kind of make your eyes water?
I believe, yes, it did.
It'll itchy all over?
Yeah.
Anywhere we had tight clothes, yeah. Yeah. So, anything else you want to add about basic?
Well, I don't really know what to ask about, but there was a lot of different things we went in to train you.
Did you have to
Like,
qualify at anything, like throw hand grenades or,
Yes, we had to throw hand grenades, then we had to crawl under live ammunition.
yeah? Did you have a thing called run, dodge, jump back then, or,
I don't remember that.
and do a mile run, something like in a certain amount of time, or?
Yeah. Like, I don't,
Was basic very hard for you? I mean,
most things went pretty good.
you're pretty good shape, did,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was young then, and I wouldn't care to do it now.
yeah, there was always some though that had a hard time, if
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember right. Yeah. So you get done with basic training, do you have a graduation?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
And then after that, then we probably spent most of the afternoon cleaning up our rifles and other equipment.
turn it back in.
Yeah, so then the next morning I took a bus home. I got on took bus all the way from Fort Leonard Wood. That was 2 days.
Back here?
Yeah,
Back to Newfoundland?
yeah.
Okay,
I think we got to this Minneapolis and pretty late that night. And then I think I got, my cousin came and met me. I went over there till the train. At that time no, I took a bus from Minneapolis because the
back here?
Sioux line was discontinuing the passenger train about that time, so
Okay, so you had to take a bus.
I took a bus, yeah.
I mean, when you were in basic training, did you know anybody?
Yes, there was one I graduated with there.
Somebody you graduated with?
Yeah.
Okay, and you both went through basic training together?
Yep.
Okay, so how long were you home for? Do you remember?
We got 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Then we went back for AIT.
Back to Fort Leonard?
Yep.
Okay,
And then I went to school. I went in for supply clerk, I guess it was. And then that was another 8 weeks there. And then I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia,
Fort Gordon, Georgia, okay.
for a little more
So,
supply training.
so what do you do to be a supply clerk for EIT? I mean, what kind of schooling is there for that?
Well, it was a lot of federal stock numbers and stuff like that, the number of each piece of equipment. And then you have to kind of know that. What would you say? Like the TO&E strength table of organization and equipment. But I never was in supply clerk.
You didn't work in it after you got out?
No,
I mean, after you got,
no, first I ended up, when I got overseas, then I ended up working at battalion headquarters for a while.
what? No, you went from Fort Leonard Wood to Fort Gordon, right?
Yep,
And how long were you there?
Fort Gordon, I was there 8 weeks.
8 weeks,
Yeah.
okay. Was it more training or
Yeah, it was more training and it was signal supply, I think.
signal supply?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got orders to go overseas?
Yeah, I went to Frankfurt, Germany, and I think I got there in November. Then I was in the 3rd Armored Division, and I was in the 1st of 36th Infantry. That was at Friedberg.
A who?
That was at Friedberg. And then I stayed there till I came home.
But when you were there, did you do any touring of Europe or
Oh, we went to a few places.
where'd you go? Like,
Well, one place I can remember is Wiesbaden. And then we went to different training areas, of course, like Wild Flickin', Grafenbeer. There was 2 training areas I remember going to.
Okay.
So I got to see quite a bit.
Did you go to any place like Norway, or
No, I never got there.
you never got to go to any other countries?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so you were there for how long?
About 18 months.
18 months?
Yeah.
Okay. And anything special stick out about those 18 months?
Well, it was, got to see meet a lot of different people, and got to see a lot of things I had never seen, like I know in one training area, well, there we were out where they were firing tanks, you know, and we had to do some of the details, like sit in the bunker and let them know when it was ready to fire and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Something I should have probably asked you earlier, but what did your folks think of you getting drafted?
Well, I guess they didn't think it was nothing unusual. Like all 3 of my mother's brothers were in World War II, and one of my dad's brothers was in World War II.
So just kind of family thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess we're glad we had done it.
Sure. So was Vietnam starting to get hot when you were in, right?
Yes, I was surprised they got sent to Europe, because when we were in basic, all the drill sergeants said, you better learn, because you're probably going to go right from here to Vietnam.
Yeah, but there was a lot of guys that came from Germany to Vietnam,
Yeah,
right out of Germany.
yeah,
They never went home. They just went right to Vietnam.
yeah.
They needed that MOS. They sent them. Yeah, yeah. So how'd you get to Germany? Fly or?
We flew, yeah.
Okay, both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did that take? Any idea?
Well, from New York from that's John F. Kennedy Airport, I think it was 6.5 hours from there to Frankfurt.
Only 6.5 hours.
Yep.
Is it? Okay. So you get home, you get back to the States. Did you muster out? What fort were you at to muster out at?
It's in New York.
Fort Dix?
Yes,
Fort Dix, New Jersey?
Yep.
Yeah. You probably flew into Fort Dix and.
Yeah, they took us right to Fort Dix after we landed. And then there was another fort we went where we turned in excess clothing and things like that.
Okay.
And then we went home.
So, did you fly home?
Yeah.
How were you treated? You know, Vietnam War was going on at that time. People weren't really dissing the military at that time, were they? 67?
They were what?
Well, when we came home from Vietnam, they called us baby killers and all kinds of stuff. Did you run into any of that kind of stuff?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
No, I suppose if I'd been in Vietnam, then I would have been.
Close as you wanted to get.
Yes.
So when you got home, what'd you do?
Well, then I went into truck driving
Truck driving?
for a while.
Remember who for, or?
Philip East out of Warren.
Okay. How long did you do that?
Well, I probably done that about 5 or 6 months, and then I went to Articat, and that's where I stayed for quite a while.
You worked at Arctic. I worked there for a while too.
Yep.
What'd you do there?
Well, I started out as a welder, and then I was in the fiberglass for a while, and then an opening came up in the sheet metal department, so that's where I ended up staying as long as I was there.
How long did you work? How long did you work from?
Almost 7 years.
7 years?
Yep.
Then what'd you do?
Then I worked at the machine shop here for a while.
Okay.
And then it's kind of slowed down there, and then I went into electric motor winding. And then I was there for about 10 years, and then when I got laid off, then I started working over here again. That's where I finished out my working days.
Okay. And you retired there?
Yep.
Well, you've had quite a job experience.
Yeah, I figure I've seen quite a bit, yeah.
Met a lot of people, I'll bet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Arlynn, is there anything else you want to add about your military career?
Well, all I can say, I'm glad I did it. That's one thing.
Yep, you're not the only one that said that. Yeah.
We just dreaded having to go, but then after we're done with it, we're glad we had.
Like you say, everything's new. It's
Yeah,
it's a whole different experience from what you're used to.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Arlynn?
No, I guess that's about all I can think of right now.
You'll go home and you'll think of a whole bunch more stuff.
I bet, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Arlynn. Thank you for doing this interview, and thank you for your service.
You bet.